All right, on this episode, guys, we're looking at day 4 of me healing from my elbow ligament injury. So after just 4 days, I've seen a very large increase in range of motion because of the choices I've made, both in terms of some physical rehab, but as well as some things I've done outside of the gym. So just to give you an idea, again, comparing the first video to now, here's my good arm. I'm able to actually put that arm, into a front rack position. And then by comparison, I can almost get my left arm almost to my shoulder now. So if you remember, in the first video, can't quite get it there, so this is the best I got today, but first video, the angle here at my arm was about a 90-degree angle. That was as far as I could get it 4 days ago. Right, and in extension, it stopped right about here in the first video versus complete extension with my good arm. Now I can get my arm just a little straighter, right? So it's close. You can see my fist is a little higher than my other fist, even though my upper arms are the same. So it's closer. We're almost at extension. I expect that I'll be in extension sooner than I'll be able to get into flexion, because flexion is where the elbow ligament injury actually occurred. Again, just comparing updates. In the first video, I could hang with no weight right from the bar. Now I can actually bear, take my feet off the ground and actually bear some of my weight in that left injured elbow. It feels just fine. All right, so I've been dosing movement again today. And one of the things I did was, a regular CrossFit training session, but I focused mostly on lower body and core stuff, just sort of worked around the injury. Believe me though, picking up and putting on weights, on bars and picking things up, moving them around in general, which was used later, definitely used this arm, so it got some work even in the training session, even though it was sort of inadvertent work. But I've also been focusing a lot on isometrics and quasi-isometrics. So isometric contractions when we don't see joint movement, but we're producing force. So, for example, against this rig, while I've been teaching throughout the day, I'll put my arm on a rig and I'll push. So I'm pushing hard, into the rig and creating contraction here through the arm muscles, the tricep and the forearm, and then relax and then pushing again, but you don't see any movement. And I'm doing the same thing in, extension of the elbow and extension of the shoulder. So I'll my hand on something and push. And so I feel the contraction through here, but you don't see movement. And then I also have my body blade, which is a tool that I brought from my old gym back in my rehab, chiropractic days. And this is to work on quasi-isometric. So this thing creates some oscillation through the blades, and my job is to try and stabilize it. So there's mostly isometric work happening here in my joints. There is obviously a little bit of movement, so I've been playing. This is a very neat little tool for stability work on your arms, and it's a nice way to bridge the gap between isometric training and then like full range of motion movement, right? So we can do what's called quasi-isometrics. So biggest thing, frankly, has been setting up my life outside the gym so that over the last couple of days I've promoted good recovery. So I've slept a lot, I've ate a lot of great food and tried to keep my inflammatory foods down to a minimum. And my sleeping has been very defined. So I've made sure I've gotten, 8 hours of sleep a night, and I've also even gotten a nap. So sleep science is really fascinating. As it relates to this video, I've been making sure I have my head on my pillow as close to 10 p.m. as possible and sleep until about 7 a.m. So we're looking at somewhere between 8 and 9 hour lengths of time. All right. The science says that between 10 and 2 is basically when our physical repair systems are kind of in overdrive, and that's important for this injury. So getting to sleep earlier for me is particularly important because of how the sleep works to repair things. So 10 and 2 is physical repair, 2 to 6-ish is considered sort of like the brain repair. So like storing things in long-term memory, you know, working out the subconscious stuff and all that stuff. So I've also been taking an hour-and-a-half nap over the weekend, and I picked 90 minutes because it also speeds healing. So, you know, again, like the research says that if you want to just have sort of some basic like increase of energy from a nap, then you take, you know, 20, maybe 30-minute long nap, and then you cut it there, and then that kind of resurges our energy. If you want to improve your creativity from a nap, then we're looking at closer to an hour length of time, and that improves things that require jobs and tasks that require a lot of creativity. And then if you want to encourage physical cellular repair, get about an hour and a half, because that's about the length of time to get a full sleep cycle. All right, so the sleep has been huge for recovering from this, as has the nutrition side of things. So I'll delve deeper into some of the nutrition stuff later, along with supplementation, but this weekend my focus was on cutting inflammatory foods, maximizing sleep quality and quantity, and incorporating the quasi-isometrics into my rehab. So that's the update. Clearly in just 3 or 4 days I've made a ton of progress, and so I'm sure in another 3 or 4 days I'll actually be able to achieve a rack position, and then we'll sort of go from there. So until next time, I'll keep you updated.